New Nationals president Paul Toboni was introduced to the Nationals media and the fan base today, and I can say confidently that the Nationals will have a new identity.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your Nationals insider, Ryan Clary. You can find me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 as well. And yes, again, part of the Locked On Nationals podcast network, where it's your team every single day. And later on in today's program, getting into some potential offseason moves, because why not? It's October 1st. Let's talk about some moves that Toboni could be making for the Washington Nationals and what he should consider. But I'm going to tell you also why I am confident in this new regime here in DC, and really why it starts at the top with Paul Toboni. So we'll have that discussion later on in the show today. But I'm going to tell you why the Washington Nationals finally are out of their identity crisis, and they have a new one under Paul Toboni. So before that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So Paul Toboni was introduced to the media today, and I think my main takeaway right now with Toboni is that the Nationals no longer have an identity crisis. I think under Paul Toboni, the identity of this team will be very, very clear, and there are some things that will have to be cleared up, but that is outside of Toboni's control at this point in time. But in answering, just kind of the main takeaway was that I feel this sense of urgency. I feel this sense of trust in Paul Toboni and the way that he speaks regarding baseball at this point in time. And if I'm a Nationals fan out there, I would feel very confident in what this team will be. Paul Toboni has made no clear decision outside of this as of right now, but you can kind of look at him and say, well, this guy has a background in not only just scouting, but he believes in analytics. He comes from an organization that has developed players at a rate over the years that, quite frankly, has not been matched by maybe outside a team like the Dodgers or the Orioles. This team is going to have an identity of finally developing players. And through Toboni's opening press conference here, he mentioned player development all the time. And that is exactly what the Nationals should be doing. Because over the years here, and when we talk about Mike Rizzo and his regime, I always want to preface it by saying this: he's a legend. He should have a statue in DC. He's been awesome for us. But over the past few seasons here, the Nationals have not had an identity. They have not been able to go out there and sign those big-time free agents. They have not been able to develop those big-time prospects at a rate that you probably should be when you're picking at the top of the board here. But I feel as if that the Nationals and their identity right now is going to be about player development at first. And that's exactly what it should be. When the Nationals went into this process, the one thing that I had in mind was analytics. And why I say analytics is because, in my opinion, this organization has lacked with the leadership of Mike Rizzo over the past few seasons. And honestly, with where things are going, I feel that I have faith in what Toboni is kind of preaching up there. I feel as if that the player development will be much, much better going forward, and that it will be a priority for this organization moving forward. Here's the thing with Paul Toboni. The reason why I like this hire is because I feel as if he's going to bring change. I feel as if he is going to bring a new, fresh approach to this team in developing players. Because the one thing that he has done with the Red Sox over the years is bring that player development, is bring that kind of new school age to the Red Sox and help bring that. It wasn't just on him. But I feel as if with his help here, that is where you will notice the biggest difference right away, in my opinion. When I asked Toboni about just kind of what the identity of the Nationals will be moving forward, this is his exact quote. Quote, I want to dominate both the big things and the small things. When I think about the big things, do we want guys that throw hard? Yeah. Do we want guys that hit the ball hard? Yeah. At the same time, we want to be the best in the league at first to third, or cuts and relays, being really efficient with our footwork, those small things. I think about the tag play all the time. I look around the big leagues and the guys aren't dropping tags the way that they should be, right? Those small things. I think about the contact play at third base, those type of small things, and I think we have to dominate. Yeah, we might not be bunting every inning, but when you're called upon to bunt, you've got to get it down. For whatever reason, there's a narrative that's teams are built throughout the game that you either care about the big things or you care about the small things. My approach on that is we should dominate both. I think that answer from Paul Tabone is exactly what I think Nationals fans wanted to hear. How many times this season have you seen the middle infield tandem of Luis Garcia Jr. and CJ Abrams boot a ball, or maybe not making the correct decision, or maybe throwing to the wrong cutoff guy, or maybe missing the cutoff guy in general? We have seen that for years at this point. We have seen instances where Jacob Young is up there bunting with the bases loaded, and he has a bunt strikeout. Those kind of small mistakes are inexcusable. And while I don't think Davey Martinez and Mike Rizzo were going out there being like, oh, it's okay to make those mistakes. That's not what they are saying. And that's not what Toboni is saying. I think what he is saying within that answer is that we need to focus on that. And within that answer, we need to cut out all these small mistakes that, quite frankly, have hurt the Nationals for years. The bad defense, the bad bunt attempts. And these are just examples here. But maybe it's looking in a deeper scouting dive on your opponent's average and what he does against curveballs, or just simply cutting out the small mistakes. Think about it. We have 162 games. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make the small mistakes. It's going to happen over the course of a season. But how many times have you, the fan, been watching this game and watching the Nationals specifically, and you're like, how many times does this player make that mistake, and when will it be corrected? When will someone have the opportunity to just say, we cannot accept that anymore? I feel as if with this new change in baseball operations, with Toboni being the head of the operation, I feel as if the Nationals will finally have that answer. And we will finally have someone be very hands-on in this operation and say, this is how we're going to do it. This is how you should do it. And let's put it into actual work. I've left this press conference thinking that Paul Tabone might not be the answer to all our prayers, but I do believe Tabone will bring a much different approach. And that's exactly what this Nationals team needs. Going into this offseason, the big thing that we had to figure out was who will be running this baseball operations department, who will be the figurehead of this organization. I feel confident in what Paul Tabone brings at this point. I feel confident in him bringing that fresh approach. And by the way, that fresh approach comes with analytics, comes with data in the R&D department, developing prospects and making all the right decisions from top to bottom. I feel confident in a new era here now. And yes, it is the fresh cologne of having someone new in town. Obviously, there's going to be a lot to be said about that. But I think with where the Nationals are, this is exactly what you needed. It is a breath of fresh air. And you can now breathe in and breathe out a little bit as well. So my main takeaway is that I'm confident. I am confident in what Toboni is preaching. I feel confident in the way that where this team is going. But there are still a lot of questions left to be answered. But to go in more on why I feel confident, let me tell you about why I feel more confident about this team and about where Tabone is leading it after this. And let me tell you about our friends at Gametime. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. And that is why I use Gametime, the app that gives you the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee, and you'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price that you pay. The app made it super simple. Maybe you're walking up to a Nationals game, or maybe you're walking up to an NFL game and you don't have your tickets yet. I open up my Game Time app as soon as I'm outside of Nationals Park. I download my tickets. I get to see exactly where I'll be sitting right on my phone. 2 taps away, tickets are in my hand. I walk into Nationals Park. It's that easy, and it's also that fast. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Now let's tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. And yes, most people cannot name all their financial accounts or even what they are worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or even on your phone. So Monarch is built for people with busy lives. And if you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify that you aren't saving as much as you thought. And of course, Monarch helps you notice an inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. And we are back here on Locked On Nationals. Again, I am your host, Ryan Clary. If you have not done so, make sure to look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, including over on YouTube. Again, look up Locked On Nationals to find your daily coverage of the Washington Nationals. So what makes me confident in things turning around? Well, number one, I just went on 10 minutes as to why I really like Paul Toboni. And let's kind of get into it a little bit deeper here. I think Tabone is going to bring that new energy that this team needs. I think that he is going to bring just that young, youthful energy that, quite frankly, the Nationals have lacked in years. And going deeper into that, you guys, if you're an everydayer out there, you've heard me discuss analytics. I think that right now, what the Nationals need more than anything is that new age of baseball. And with Toboni coming from the Red Sox, I feel as if they have finally entered the 2020s. If you watch last night's game, and it's actually kind of ironic with what I'm about to say, but the New York Yankees, a team that is 27-time World Series champions, one of the most successful organizations in all of sports, the New York Yankees actually sat Ben Rice and Jazz Chisholm, 2 of their best hitters. Now, unfortunately, that decision, in my opinion, kind of costed them a win and could have, in my opinion, costed them a potential wild card series against their arch rival. But a decision like that comes from analytics and comes from background scouting. Because when you think of Ben Rice and you think of Jazz Chisholm, you think of their 2 best hitters alongside Aaron Judge, Trent Grisham, and the reason why that they benched him, both those guys going up against Garrett Crochet, is because, number one, both of them don't have the numbers. And number 2, Ahmed Rosario, the former National that you traded to the Yankees at this year's deadline, was 6 of 9 with a home run against Garrett Crochet. You are playing the numbers game there. And while it did not work for the Yankees in yesterday's game, I think that that is something that the Nationals have kind of lacked. And having a decision like that is a very, quite frankly, ballsy decision to make. You have to have someone from the top of your organization to make that decision. Now, again, it did not work out for them, but I do believe that in some instances, that is the smart play. And going into it, that's just an example of what could be coming here with the Nationals. So seeing that decision and kind of getting the feel for Toboni, I feel as if that decisions like that will be brought to Nationals Park. And that honestly has not really been here under Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez. And just real quick, since we mentioned Davey Martinez here, I do believe that whoever Toboni does hire as a manager, it will be someone that will be in on analytics, someone that will be in on potentially driving that analytics field and that analytic base of how you conduct a lineup and how you decide who's going to pitch on what day and what the bullpen decisions will be made on specific days. Baseball is a tough game. You're not going to go 162-0. It's never going to be perfect when you have that many opportunities there. But I think decisions like that have kind of lacked over the years. And in my opinion, you have to have that balance of analytics and scouting, and that is exactly what Toboni went on here with the Washington Nationals. My guy Toby Altizer asked from 106.7 The Fan, he asked Paul Toboni in his press conference this morning on just kind of the balance of data and balance of scouting. And I thought Toboni had a great answer of why you kind of have to marry both. And this is what he had to say, quote, "I'm a huge believer in analytics. I'm also a strong advocate and believe in the power of area scouting. And I believe in the power of great coaching. What we want to do is have folks that have mutual respect for both." That is exactly what the Nationals should be saying. And with that in mind, the Nationals do have a pretty big decision to make, and Toboni specifically has a pretty big decision to make. Going back to when he was hired just a week ago, Ken Rosenthal and Britt Giroli of The Athletic, they mentioned that Toboni would have full power in what is hired under baseball operations, that all the decisions in that market will be under Toboni's leadership. And Toboni was asked today, actually on the Sports Junkies this morning, and he was asked whether or not he would be hiring a GM himself. And he said, "It's still to be determined. What I feel good about is I have the full support of ownership. If I believe that's the best thing for the Nationals, they're totally good with it. There's a chance we do and a chance that we don't." Now that leads us to a question surrounding Mike DeBartolo. I feel as if Mike DeBartolo right now, who was present at the press conference today, I feel as if DeBartolo will definitely be getting an opportunity to be the GM of the Washington Nationals. I feel as if Toboni would be pretty open, in my opinion, to having DeBartolo stay here as a Nationals GM. I mean, he mentioned a lot of things in his press conference, and he was actually asked about that in his press conference today surrounding Toboni, or surrounding Mike DeBartolo and all the other assistant GMs who have been working here under Mike Rizzo's control as the president of baseball ops. But Toboni provided a good answer and just kind of said, "Listen, like, we're open to anything. I've only known these guys for like 70 hours at this point." And he believes that DeBartolo obviously is a very bright-minded guy. He has a background in analytics as well. This is someone who did not play minor league baseball. He's not someone who really kind of just went in and, he said a ton of good things about DeBartolo. So I think that was kind of noticeable, in my opinion, of today's press conference, that the Nationals, as he said, I mean, it's still to be determined whether the Nationals will hire a GM under him at this point. But if I had to bet, I feel as if the Nationals will hire a GM. I feel as if that the Nationals will have a new GM by the end of this October. And I feel as if that is the full expectation as of right now. That is just my opinion. Not heard anything differently. Either way. But as you have to know, what fans have to know, is that you should feel confident in the direction under Toboni. I've said this all along. I love Mike Rizzo. Mike Rizzo is a legend here. He has his place here. He's going to have a Mike Rizzo day. You're going to have a Mike Rizzo bobblehead day, and he deserves it. He is a legend of the Nationals. But you needed that fresh voice. You needed that someone to kind of guide you through this new era of baseball with balancing the area scouting of what Mike Rizzo really mastered over the years, and then also balancing those analytics. So that answer from Toboni, of just kind of that perfect marriage of balancing both scouting as well as analytics is exactly what fans should want, because that is what the great organizations do. So thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So one thing that was never asked about, but I just want to say this, and I just kind of want to put it on the record for now. Don't be surprised if the Nationals make some moves. I'll tell you a move that I will make this offseason after this. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I built parlays, tried to player props, and even followed the live lines during games, and it makes watching football so much more fun. Like tomorrow, I've got Puka Nacua scoring an anytime touchdown against the Niners. But with that in mind, a Brian Robinson Jr. sighting. Yes, a B-Rob touchdown by the San Francisco 49ers. I'm betting on both those props because I'm going to watch the game. And of course, it's going to make it even more exciting. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, go to FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Again, that is FanDuel.com. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And while the Washington Nationals have welcomed in new president of baseball ops, Paul Toboni, you also got to welcome in a new offseason here. And I'm going to put this on your radar right now. This is pure speculation, but if I'm Tabone, the first move that I would consider making is trading your ace, Mackenzie Gore. I think Mackenzie Gore is great. I will break down his season. I will tell you what's to come in 2026. But right now, the Nationals need to make moves. And you need to really kind of replenish this farm system that has, quite frankly, been pretty depleted. You look at guys like Sikora. Travis Sikora is shut down with Tommy John surgery. You just had Harley and Susanna go under and had surgery as well. Not Tommy John surgery, nothing on his arm, but I believe something that was considered an oblique injury as of right now. So stay tuned for that. We can discuss that at a later date. But the Nationals need help. You need to build back this farm system. And I think if you make a trade of someone like a Mackenzie Gore, or let's just say a CJ Abrams, I think that would make sense for what the Nationals need. What they need right now is an influx of talent. You need an influx of young talent in this building. You need an influx of talent into your farm system. And I think moving off someone like a Gore, who is, again, a Scott Boras client, he's a free agent after the next 2 seasons. Right now, his value will be higher than what it will be at this upcoming trade deadline. And maybe you want to take that gamble. Maybe you think that you can make a change with Gore and kind of have his walk rate come down and really kind of hone in on his command and finally kind of reaching that tip-top potential that we know he has as someone who could be a real ace for a real good team moving forward. If I'm Tabone at this point, I would be having everything on the table. If you want to talk about signing a big free agent, go for it. If you want to talk about calling up someone maybe a little premature, go for it. But if you also want to potentially trade like an Abrams or a Gore type, and if you make it pretty reasonable, and if you get back a good return, I'm all in on it. The Nationals, again, their top priority under Tabone right now is to get talent back into the building. The quickest way that you can do that is obviously free agency. Right now, I don't have faith in them really going out there and opening up the checkbook and signing an Alex Bregman or a Pete Alonso who's going to be in free agency again. I don't expect that from them. And I don't think really anybody should at this point. But what I do think that they could do is make a trade. And while a lot of people want to rip their hair out and say, why are we doing this? This makes no sense. You're trading one of our best pitchers. We have no pitching to begin with. that gives you an opportunity to, number one, get more pitching in the building, but number two, have the possibility to have multiple guys that come in here and help this team win. I go back to the Juan Soto trade. Where would this Nationals team be without Mackenzie Gore, without CJ Abrams, without James Wood, without Robert Hassel, without having one of your top prospects be Harleen Susanna? This team would be a mess at this point. We would be talking about 105, 110 losses from 2025 and even probably 2024 and 2023 in that equation as well. Getting an influx of talent has got to be the top priority for Paul Tabone this offseason. And I think a trade of someone of a Gore or an Abrams or maybe someone else out there could help you get from point A to point B as quick as possible. So watch out for that. I'm just putting it on your radar right now. That is a move that I think could kind of simmer up this offseason and might make a lot of Nationals fans mad, but quite frankly, might be the best move for this team moving forward. So thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I will catch you guys on the flip side. And of course, tune in wherever you get your podcast. That is Locked On Nationals. Look us up on YouTube as well and hit that subscriber button. But until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.